This is...
What's up, y'all? Just before Dishonor will be recapped right now on Truly Filthy Combat. I'm your host, Phil Robinson III. With me, my man, Truly Tony Bang, the Universal Champion.
Yes, oh my fucking God. That's all I have to say.
Oh, wow. Professional wrestling.
What did we do to deserve this great entertainment that this week has brought?
We sat through what happened at the end of the Attitude Era. We sat through.
I mean, I got that feeling. Mr. Robinson.
We sat through like shit. What's happening? Ain't doing nothing but a thing.
So let's we're gonna
hold on real quick because with this first time we've come on since then, and we do need to pay our respects to what Vincent K. McMahon meant to the world of professional wrestling. Now, regardless of the scandals and regardless of what he did behind closed doors, and you can't excuse that because he did it, and I'm not going to sit up here and try. But what he did for the sport of professional wrestling is invaluable. Him stepping down and retiring is the single greatest bit of wrestling news that we've had in our lifetimes. Said Vincent K. McMahon has literally been doing this as long as most of us have been alive, if not longer.
And longer, because his dad was also involved. Vincent Kennedy McMahon, what he did for wrestling is like what David Stern did for the NBA. And when he learned that there was a place for marketing these guys beyond what they were doing at that time. This was before action figures was out and merchandise was out. Vincent McMahon brought a revenue stream to the sport of wrestling that, in a way that Michael Jordan brought marketing to the NBA. And I am very, two things can be right. He can be, he's done some things that it's not so cool, but at the same time, I can also appreciate all the entertainment and joy that he's brought to me almost both, let's just say my whole life. My whole life, and I'm 40. So that, from what I can say, 4 decades 4 decades.
That I can tell you honestly that no matter what scandal he's been in, Vince has probably been the one person in my lifetime I have wanted to work for more than anyone.
I can agree with that. I can agree with that because
I'll tell anybody who knows me, for as much as I love football, if Vince came to me and said he needed me, I wouldn't even say bye.
Right. So
I waited my whole life for this.
I hope one day to be able to have a conversation with some of the personnel that was there. I just want to know what it's like to work with Vince, and I could probably get that from some documentaries. I'm sure I probably heard that version of it, but I've never got to ask my questions. So that would be a very interesting. Anybody out there know anybody that's know somebody that knows somebody that can make that happen?
But see, you'd never be able to find out a real story about Vince with just one person.
Yeah, I just want their experience. I just want to know, on his bad days, what was his bad days like? And everybody knew Vince was having a bad day. What was that like? What was a good
You've
day?
seen it. Say Vince will go out there, make you kiss his ass, fire you on the spot, embarrass you. How much worse could it get? So now he'll sleep with you, double up your salary, then push you off to the homie and give you a pay cut. I mean,
hey. And he still ends up looking out for everybody. Some people got paid and people got laid. People got paid.
Right.
All right. So, yeah. But again, Vince, man, thank you for, putting wrestling in a position to where it's even at today, and where they'll take it beyond.
Absolutely. So thank you for that. Thank you, KB, for bringing that up and reminding us, because that was something that I meant to come out and address on Friday night. So now let's transition into what we were originally here to do. Now, Tone, we had a big boxing match, if you could call it that, today. What went down with Dogboe?
Dogboe and Gonzalez.
Dogboe, excuse me.
Niho. For those who are not familiar with that guy, I believe he's actually a royalty in his tribe. He's actually a fighting prince right now, from where he's from. I believe it's Sudan, somewhere out there. But anyway, Dogboe needed to make a statement tonight. His last few performances were, not up to just the standard that he set. That got a lot of his boxing heads very interested in him. Thank you, Nubian Queen. Always, as always. That was. Dogboe won a close one in a split decision. 96-94 was the scorecards with the draw on one end, which I had a draw, or I said if he edged out a win. The reason for that would be because when Gonzalez, because he was willing to meet Gonzalez on his grounds, what Gonzalez wanted to do, which was fighting the inside, and Dogboe did a satisfactory job there, and then he took it to the outside. Obviously, he was more dominant from that side. So Dogboe edges out a win. He is the new WBA, I believe, champ, and he definitely called out the other champions of that division. And in his word, he says, "I'm back. I'm back." So he feels good. He feels like he's got some more time left in his prime, and look forward to seeing what's next for Dogboe. Niho.
Show. All right. So there was a little bit of UFC action too. Did you manage to catch some of that?
I didn't catch that. We're actually put and I want to apologize to our viewers. We're actually in constructing how we're going to approach this UFC thing. We like to, definitely be very as informative as possible, and so we're building a way to do that right now. But I did have a conversation with a friend of mine that is heavy into UFC. He was our guest last week or Friday with Kay. And so he kind of spoke a little bit on that fight that was happening in the UK. And I don't mind looking at the results, but I really want to get to some wrestling. So if this week, if y'all can give us a mulligan for the UFC. However, next week, I hear the UFC card is actually really good. So
it'll be a little better.
It'll be a lot better. So we'll definitely make up that time then to spend on UFC. So what was next is, and I'll throw the assist to Filthy on BKFC tonight. Some really entertaining fights there on BKFC tonight. Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship for those that.
Yeah, we had the championship. The main event was Jared Grant versus Ryan Barnett.
Mm-hmm.
And it was so when I first watched, because this BKFC, and I'm not it's something that we're just getting into, starting to learn some of these fighters. They were bantamweights.
Were they bantamweights?
I think they were bantamweights, and so they had that. And this is bare knuckle fighting, so you got boxers basically fighting with hand wraps, with uncovered knuckles and no gloves, is what it looked like. And so I was looking at the champ, and the champ looked like he hadn't had a mark on him, and I was like, that was kind of weird to me. The champ was Jared Grant at the time. This individual, as a champion, completely and thoroughly disappointed me. He was fighting a southpaw for starters, not throwing his jab, just standing in front of him. And for the first round, said his defense was impeccable. Second round, his defense was good, but he was starting to show cracks. But he never ever got started. And then he started taking combos. He started taking flurries. He started getting caught. He backed off Barnett, and after an exchange with a hook of his own, and to the point where Barnett backed up, nodded his head yes, and gave him some space and calmed back down and regained his balance in fighting instead of losing control. And me and Tone had talked about that, and because I was trying to figure out what was going on, and we had come to the conclusion that Grant was a reactionary fighter. And not only was he a reactionary fighter, he was bad at it. And it got to a point where he was just trying to one-shot him. Never really connected. Never connected on anything big except for maybe 3 times. And it was just, he was just standing there getting pummeled. Until I believe they ended it as it went to the scorecard after a incidental eye poke, which he was pretty much just looking for a way to get out of that fight without getting knocked out.
Yo, wait, can I acknowledge some people in the house real quick? Big
Please.
Jim, Q, Queen, again, thank you again. KB, as always, he's always pulling up, ready to talk some combat. Al is in the building.
Yes, he is.
And Prez said, I'm on time. He said I got time and I'm on time today, player. But
Said,
so
which
yeah,
outfit are
man.
we dressing in today, player?
But yeah, Grant, man, he him and his team, uh did not do a great job in preparing him for, and giving him options in how to approach this fight. Um, as we said, as Filthy said, very reactionary fighter. Uh, Barnett was just able to. Barnett was the one who controlled the pace of the whole fight. When he wanted, the whole pace. When
the entire fight,
he pushed the fight when he wanted to push it, and he relaxed when he wanted to relax, and he did whatever he wanted to do in that fight. Grant, I remember we were, you were asking, you was like, so why is he champion? Like, what is it about him?
What is he doing?
I'm not seeing
it.
Yeah, I'm not seeing it. And watching quite a few fights now, and a lot of them can. This is what I like about, and it'll make it all make sense if I say what I like about it is that a fight can change. You can be like one of the better fights, actually, probably the best fight tonight on that whole BKFC card was the Corson fight, where he had got knocked down 3 times early, and the man had kept his composure, came back, and I mean, obliterated. he obliterated Riley. If we are able to, could you drop that picture I text you of his face? And bare knuckle fighting, man, these fights can change like that. I mean, just like that. I mean, you're like, in 1 minute, you're like, oh man, this dude is outclassing this man, and then out of nowhere, one big shot will change a person's whole approach. Where he was coming forward, and now it's like, okay, I kind of don't want no more what just happened to me. So, say that to say, with Grant, he was looking for the big shot. He was always trying to, and it seems like he has made his bread and butter on landing the big shot in between exchanges. He was waiting on the exchange to sneak the big shot in. He's willing to take blows to deliver. And it's funny because he had something that said Little Gotti on his trunks.
Man,
I don't.
Kid Gotti, wasn't it tattooed on his back? It was tattooed on his back.
Something like that. And I'm wondering, is that a reference to Arturo Gotti, which was a guy that kind of approached his fights similarly? Well, he can actually box. Don't get me wrong, because that second fight against Mickey Ward, he was just like, okay, I'm not finna trade with you like that, fool. I'll trade when it's time to trade, but I'm gonna be on my stick for most of this fight, and I'm just gonna be pumping this jab and really boxing you. Grant, he stuck. He had one plan and one plan only, and it showed tonight. And I won't disrespect the man. The man is now a former champion, and his journey is not over. So we'll see from Grant. But Reggie Barnett Jr. is the new bantamweight champion. Congratulations to him. And
yes, sir.
And he should have won because He should have won because he came down with Nipsey Hussle wearing blue, Crip walking on the walkway.
Right. Scared him right off the bat. He was like, "Oh, he out here gang banging and who ride. I'm not trying to get shot outside."
And then and then we'll get into wrestling. He had the nerve in the middle of the confusion with how this fight was ending. He said, "This man owed me some more time. Why he leave?"
Yeah, where's he going?
Where's he going?
I said, hey, and I was telling Tony, I was like, this is bare knuckle fighting. I'd be like, what's to stop you from dipping outside the ring, catching him in the hallway? But like, look, fam, you owe me another 75 seconds. We can handle this in the ring, or we can do this right here in the hallway.
Yeah. Oh man, so very, very entertaining. If you guys want to, kind of get more familiar with bare knuckle fighting, because we will be continue to bring this to you. I think it's very entertaining. It's legit. It's a very legit sport, and we definitely like to shed some light on this with you guys. So go. They have an app, BKFC. They do have an app you can download and keep up with all the events and competitors. All right.
And with that being said, so let me just set the move for him one time, Tom. Hold on. It was so dynamite that it put Tony to sleep with his belts.
See, this is what happens when you have your phone on at work.
Get caught slipping.
Wait, but what happened? Like, so we were just showing the back page. That's how we were setting the tone. Okay. I was waiting for the clip. I was like, oh, he's about to.
No, we can't do the clips. Can't monetize. That's all bad. We're just gonna jump right into it because we call it main event, Saturday night main event for a reason.
Yes.
The Briscoes versus FTR was the great. It was probably this best out of 3 falls match was probably one, and I love the premise of Ring of Honor and how it's clean wrestling. Said very little foreign objects, very little outside interference. Said all strictly about the wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
And as I've looked at it, I've gained a deeper respect for it quickly, and really find it that I was ignorant when I was just all about WWF back in the day. Because there was a lot of quality wrestling that I missed out on. But moving forward, this shit right here, Tony, and I mean, this shit right here was insanity. Said I watched moves that I've never seen done before. I didn't think that Cash Wheeler could ever had a belly to back suplex off the top of the turnbuckle, off the mat, onto a table, put somebody through a table. I just did. I never knew that he had that in him, that was his capability. Go ahead, please.
Well, not only did you see moves you haven't seen, you saw things that we swore were outlawed.
Straight up.
I mean, a power driver off the top rope. Let me let that sink in.
Pile driver, period, was a no-no. That's one of the things that caught me about AEW right off the rip. I was like, is that a pile driver he's doing? I was like, that's a no. We don't do pile drivers no more.
Apparently, they just said, you know what?
Fuck it.
Yeah, we're doing this. We're doing
Yeah,
this.
this is happening.
We're doing this. And you know why we're doing this? Because we have guys that know what the fuck they're doing.
Professional wrestlers.
So, man. So when you remember when you said how WWF was your 1A.
Yeah. One only. Not 1A, one only.
Okay.
One only up until WCW, till the Monday Night Wars, and then they were then it was running 1.1 and 1.2. It wasn't even 1A and 1B.
So I can say I literally been watching this stuff for 40 years. Third generation wrestling fan. So I was exposed to not only WWF, but I was exposed to NWA, exposed to Mid-South Wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
There was also a Midwest wrestling company. So a lot of those end up getting consolidated, and Ted Turner ended up bringing those guys and turning NWA into WCW, so forth, and we know the history of that. But so I am enjoying getting a feeling of old school 80s wrestling. And I mean, when you, like you said, this is about the wrestling. It's not a lot of gimmicks going on. It's not, fluff from any other surrounding type of, energy. It didn't need it. It didn't need it. The wrestling spoke for itself. This match, even the booking of it, to where you had teams that have respect. I mean, I saw so much respect for the craft out there. Let me just take these off.
And as you talk about respect for the craft, that's one of the things that I enjoy most about the Ring of Honor is the post-match handshake.
Yes. What did Jay-Z say? You can pay for school, but you can't buy class.
Nope.
That was a very good sight to see. And I don't get me wrong, I love a feud just like anybody else, but I also appreciated what I saw today, which was you saw the victors respecting their competition because they leveled up tonight. Those boys leveled up.
All of them.
Personally and as performers, because they have certainly raised the bar for me watching as we continue to watch tag team matches. It'd be very hard to get to top that performance we saw tonight.
Topping that performance falls squarely on the shoulders of the Usos and the Street Profits. SummerSlam is next week, and Ring of Honor has set the bar. AEW has set the bar, and WWE has failed to meet the bar.
And wow, because we got SummerSlam next week. And AEW has 2 more shows before that even happens.
Mm-hmm. Now, Rampage has been a dud, and it has gotten progressively worse over the last couple weeks. But Dynamite is killing the game.
Yes.
And they're doing it with 2 hours instead of 3.
Yes. And Rampage doesn't have to be,
it should be better than Dark Elevation.
It doesn't have, but it could be at least Thursday Night Thunder, Sunday Night Heat ish. You know what I mean? If you can
It should
get that to
definitely
that
be
level,
better than Dark Elevation.
yeah. If it can just get there, fine. Because you put you're putting, rightfully so, putting a lot of energy into Dynamite and your pay-per-views. So I don't mind using a show to showcase some new guys and get some work in, and whatnot, and then prepare the ones that's there for the next push if they can graduate to Dynamite. It's also a good thing, but they can still do a lot better on the booking process with that.
Right, absolutely. But getting back to this Ring of Honor pay-per-view, this match had it all. The Briscoes legit. I'd never heard of them. I've never seen their wrestling before, and they got 2 more fans tonight because I was instantly a fan.
Have you ever? Let me bring this back up. So,
in all my life,
and so we've seen blood. We've seen bloodshed in wrestling. Yes, we have. Across the forehead. Things like that. 2 things happened today that I can't say that I've seen before. No, actually, I've seen one of them. But it's very rare. I saw the referee. The referee was even bleeding.
Leaking.
I was even bleeding this
man. He didn't take no wrestling punch. He ate a straight right cross to the jaw.
And
well, bad enough to where all 4 of the wrestlers looked at him like, oh shit.
He was almost a candidate for sucking soup for the next few weeks. That jaw would have been they would have applied a little more pressure. That jaw would be wired like a
somehow we got to get a drop of that just so I can have that just on standby for sucking soup.
And then the second one, was, have you ever, chat group, viewers watching later, have you ever seen somebody chest get chopped to the point where it starts to bleed?
And then even with your chest busted open, bleeding on the outside, you still taking chops.
And to a brace, let's I'll get a little medically technical a little bit to braise the skin enough with enough friction so many times to where you can actually
rip it,
bust through the subcutaneous and just to be able to extract blood with chops. Man,
chop the blood out you. Well, you look at what was old boy was Rune Andrade's homeboy.
Yeah.
And the back and forth that he was supposed to be chopping with, I guess they said that was his brother.
Oh,
that's what they said. I don't believe it. Not the way they was chopping each other and didn't check on each other. Said, all right, they got some good old fashioned heat in the family. I don't know. That's not mine. But I mean, them boys been chopping the shit. They may not punch each other, but boy, they is not pulling back on them chops.
But in actuality, they provide us even that, because there is a partner match, and I'll let Filthy take over this because he absolutely loved this part where they started throwing hands.
Now you want to talk about in all my life and all my times of wrestling, So whenever you see a wrestler start throwing hands in the fight, it's always that shoot love tap. Oh, I'm gonna throw this punch that stops right before I get you. These cats, after the first pile driver and the ref got knocked out, and they had hit the Briscoes had hit their finish, and dude could have counted to 30, but with no ref, he wasn't winning the match.
Right.
And then they got up. Dax got up and started throwing hands. And I'm not talking about no punk ass slaps. We're talking feet in the pocket,
Not shoulder,
trading.
not this one.
Combos. Combos. You know what I'm saying? Hands, throwing hands. That was right before he took old boy up to the top rope and then pile drived him off of it. And I was watching that and I was like, oh shit. Like he fucking did it. Oh wow.
I think whoever, for the wrestling fans that didn't see this match, let me tell you something. This is one of those matches where I wish I can watch it over and over again for the first time. If you understand what I'm saying, I want to watch this match repeatedly for the first time again. I want to have the first reaction. I want to have that moment again and again and again, because this match provided a lot. It was poetry.
It was.
This was poetry. This is what you show young tag teams
how to do it.
This is what you should aspire to get to.
This right here said, this is the bar. This is the bar. When you want to know when you want to know how you're doing, if you're not doing that, you're not doing enough. When you're not doing the blood and guts, well, now let's say that's a different type of niche. But if you're a tag team and you're not doing what FTR is doing, you're not doing what the Usos are doing, you're not doing what the Street Profits are doing, you're not doing what the Briscoes are doing, you're not doing enough. That they separated themselves from the pack tonight.
And
it as over the landscape, not just in the company, over the entire wrestling landscape.
And for those that just are so Filthy and I, we're starting to notice the more and more we're getting involved in the the combat community on social media on a deeper level. There's hating there's haters everywhere, but it's really astonishing to us that, all this wrestling that we're getting, all like, are you a fan of a particular company? Or are you a fan of the whole thing? And anybody who decided not to watch this because of whatever thing you have against this company, not against the actual craft of wrestling, you missed out.
Because we're talking, you missed out big time, and we haven't even talked about Jonathan Gresham versus Claudio Castagnoli.
So let's do it, and then we'll come back. We'll come back because I would love to revisit this match again, just so when we sum all the whole night up. So let's do it.
Ring of Honor gave Jonathan Gresham a classy way out and let him have a great match against Claudio Castagnoli. Said when Vince would have squashed him.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Jonathan probably would have had a title reign around Kofi Kingston's title reign.
Said
Ain't no way in hell Vince would have given him
Jonathan Gresham would be your
5'8".
24. He'd be your 24/7 champion.
There's no Vince McMahon giving somebody under 6 foot a world title. It just won't happen. It just won't happen. It just won't. I'm sorry. With the exception of Rey Mysterio, I think that's the only exception there.
Yeah.
I mean,
you're talking about a guy. Yeah, you're talking about a guy who's about as tall as Rey Mysterio.
I need to see that match. You see what Jim just dropped? There was a match with the Briscoes, Hardy, and Canellis. That was a no hold barred match.
Woo! Yeah, I'll have to go check that out. All of that sounds like that's gonna be crazy, especially after what I just seen.
So yeah, I agree. Classy way for Gresham to lose a title. It shows respect to the champion he was, and probably certainly will be again one day. And he lost to Claudio. Claudio definitely lost to a very credible competitor, one that's going to take that title and do things with it. It wasn't just find somebody to take the title off of Gresham's hands. So very 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 classy way for that to happen. And shout out to the Blackpool Fight Club. They are
3 champions deep.
Yeah, they have got some jewelry on that side in that camp, and I just want to allocate because we're going to get into. Oh no, not yet. We'll get into that in a minute, but I do want to advocate for Samoa Joe to join the Blackpool Fight Club. I like that idea, but I digress for right now. We have the Righteous versus Dalton Castle and the Boys in the six man titles. However, we do like the idea of a 3-man tag team, of 3-man championship division.
3-person tag team.
Yeah. Trips champ, whatever you want to call it. We do like that idea. I did not see that match, so I won't even really try to fluff that at all. I don't know if you watched that match. Did you see that match?
Yes, I watched it. I tried not to. We got through it. That's about the best that I can say.
All right.
That I know that's poor on me to not be paying attention to that and not enjoy all of it, but every card has a dud. That was theirs.
Yep. So okay. Moving right
then
along.
We had the ladies. We had Serena Deeb, the Professor, versus Mercedes Martinez. And that was a great match.
Absolutely.
That was a great match. I want to say the first time I've seen Serena Deeb take a loss in a long time. And she got out wrestled, which never happens.
I want to say she got out wrestled.
She did. I'll say it for you.
When you say out wrestled, like dominated, or she lost?
She was submitted.
Right, but I mean dominated throughout the match.
It was 50-50. It was 50-50 pretty much the entire match.
It came down to a move or two, right?
But in the end, she was defeated, and so
I just want to be careful about not saying she got out wrestled. I think
it wasn't a slugfest match. That's why.
Yeah, no, but I mean, I guess out wrestled would mean like a total domination, like it was just nothing you can do.
Well, so
yeah.
so you could take that and let's say you look at a match with Charlotte and Ronda. Said now in a street fight, Ronda would murder her, but she could be out wrestled, which is why she lost the match. Now, I happen to like Mercedes Martinez over Serena Deeb in a street fight, but wrestling was Deeb's domain, and she got out wrestled, especially after having locked in her move multiple times. It got reversed, it got countered, and Martinez was just simply better tonight.
Okay. Yeah. 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 Okay. Yeah, I agree. I will say that. And Mercedes Martinez retained her title.
Mm-hmm.
And that is a very interesting thing too. You know, I don't. I gotta watch some more of the posts because I was thinking, I was like, don't they got post show interviews? And I totally
that should be going on right now.
Yeah, I totally did not watching. That'll be a great thing to add to the discussion. So we had Roosh and Dragon Lee, which is another one that I did not watch.
Who?
Roosh and Dragon Lee.
Yeah, that's Idala Andrade's homeboy.
Correct.
Yeah, that's the one that I was telling you earlier, where they were chopping the shit out of each other, and they kept said that I kept hearing that they were supposed to Roosh and Dragon Lee were supposed to be brothers. At least that's what they said. Like I said, I didn't believe it, but that's what they said. And then I want to say the last remaining match was Wheeler Yuta and Daniel Garcia.
That's correct.
And I want to tell you, I've doubted Wheeler Yuta's ability, but I've seen him flat out wrestle a great match after great match. And I will also say that at first I was not a fan of Ryan Garcia's, but Daniel Garcia's. But stopping and watching his body of work, that man is a phenomenal wrestler and sports entertainer, and he will be wearing a belt at some time.
Absolutely. Yuta, I like that he has. I like what the Blackpool Fight Club kind of
did for him.
Has done for the whole group in itself.
Yeah,
because of their style of wrestling, they have found a way to where in their just in their immediate talent pool that they have made it, successful. Whereas I don't think those type of guys typically aren't always be able to shine. But in this platform with this group and Regal reiterated what they stand for, Yuta has found something that once, because it's good, they don't last forever. Okay. But once he goes on to his next chapter in his career, this is going to definitely
help
his appeal. Yeah. Moving forward for sure.
Absolutely. And it comes down to stylistically, one of the better things, especially when it goes to booking. What I've always appreciated about wrestling were fighting champions. And in AEW and Ring of Honor, they make their champions wrestle nightly.
Yes.
So you don't go 2 weeks, a month without seeing your Universal Champion on either show. I'm like, how do you put on a wrestling promotion when your top belts aren't even in the arena?
And when they show up, they're not
Yeah, and
They're
they're
not.
not changing hands on
Yeah.
anything but a Sunday. It's a whole big thing. But so Ring of Honor, like I said, this was really the first Ring of Honor pay-per-view that I've been privileged to watch. And it was enough to make me understand that I've been missing out. Said I have been cheating myself, because what those men did, they went out there and performed, and I like blowing the forbidden door wide open, because as a wrestling fan, I guess now Tone, you want to know what's hilarious? We're old enough to be wrestling purists now.
When you start saying, I used to watch your grandfather wrestle, you're there. You're there.
Wrestling purists said when you blow this forbidden door wide open, and now that Triple H and Stephanie are running things and Vince is no longer calling the shots, the propensity for the WWE to blow open that door themselves is the highest it's ever been. And they need to work. They're going to have to work out some contractual things in order to make it work, but they definitely need to link up and make that happen, because that's just a money making opportunity that it literally is going to be as big as when Goldberg faced off against Stone Cold.
And what is and what is WWE doing now? Starting off with a huge match, a match that they would normally do at the end of the show. They are starting to copy some of the model that the AEW organization is doing, because the first match off the bat, Claudio.
That's your second best match
for the heavyweight championship. You get what I'm saying? Like, the heavyweight title was the opening match for the heavyweight title. I mean,
against the midget.
Do you know?
I'm gonna give that man his respect, because I don't need little angry Jonathan Gresham coming to beat my ass at 5'7" and making me look like a fool.
And let me tell you, that man, you thought Dean Malenko had 1,000 holes? That man has 2,000.
He got about 2,500. He got about 250 times 10.
You like, what the hell is this? What is this you're doing? Let me go. All right, you got it, big dog.
Yeah.
Big little dog. You got it. Little big dog, you got it.
Oh, I hope nobody's watching this. I'm gonna get cooked.
But they're opening the show. You got talent when you open the show with that. Hell. And then we will it's 10:35. Yeah, so we'll get into the recap as soon as possible, because, and maybe this is a segue into the recap for that, because Wednesday night the main event wasn't even a title match.
Nope.
No title on the line, nothing. And they've done that the last almost month now, right? At least, right? Where the main event on Wednesday night has not involved a title.
But that's for marketing purposes and strategy. So what it's similar to the model that I've told you about. This is that you gotta hit that audience and get their attention early, and nothing gets anybody's attention like flashing a little hardware and saying that's what's up for grab right off the bat. That's excellent booking, and certainly a different way. It's the new way of doing things. It used to be that you built up leading to the main event, and that's probably another one of those reasons why boxing isn't as doesn't have the following and fanfare that it used to. Is that you gotta, because if you tried to put the main event first, none of these other guys would get any. Nobody'd see them.
And the boxing, part of what's important about the main event is the audience. And let's just be real. These celebrities are not getting to the door at 6:00, 5:30, for prospects to see prospects, open up the show.
Right.
And that's just the nature of just how they roll. They got to make an entrance, so forth. So only there's only so many Rosie Perez's out there who are celebrities, who are huge boxing fans,
Right.
like that. What's up, Jerome? So what kicked off this amazing week of wrestling, and we'll just skip over to Wednesday because at this point, the way we feel about it on this show is that Wednesday starts it off, and WWE is playing catch up come Monday. So
then SmackDown finishes it off.
Yeah, SmackDown finishes it off. Exactly.
Rampage needs to get better.
We'll start. Around here we start with the main event. So I'll keep it consistent with the barbed wire everywhere match. I gotta take my glasses off for this one because
I've seen a lot of crazy shit in all of my wrestling watching. I've seen barbed wire be used before. I've seen barbed wire bats. But I've seen tacks be used. That's kind of one of my least favorite objects to use in one of these types of matches, because it's like, listen, bro, I'm not about to fall on these tacks, homie. You're not going to convince me to do that. I'm just not going to do that. I'm not getting thrown off the top of the cage.
Hey, everybody's got a price.
Yeah. Mine's high. You're gonna have to pay me.
I would love to see the look on your face when they say, "All right, sure, nothing," and then you're obligated to do it. Like, oh, well, I thought I was scaring you off.
Woo!
It's called ER.
I didn't ask for enough. Fuck that.
I wonder, when they have matches like that, do they call the ER in advance and just say, "Hey, we're going to be transporting 2 individuals. We are doing." I
think it's part of the booking requirement that they got to have EMT on site, because they do that. I want to say they do that for high school football games, where you got to at least have some type of medical professional on scene.
Right. And I'm sure after a match like that, they were immediately transported. I'd be very surprised they were hanging around having a beer, right after.
Well, actually, no, not after that. Especially if you saw the way that match ended with not the way the match ended, but after the match when Eddie Kingston threw him in. I still don't. It looked like a sandbox of barbed wire.
It was a barbed wire pit or something like that.
Yeah, it literally looked like a sandbox of barbed wire. And that motherfucker Chris Jericho fell in that motherfucker and started doing.
And got electrocuted.
Yeah. I was like, I don't know what is happening to him, but I don't ever want that to happen to me. You're not supposed to do. You're not supposed. A grown man is not supposed to be wiggling, twitching, and shaking like this.
Everybody has a price, but no.
Not for that.
And if you saw the way it ended, but you didn't see who won, one would think that Chris Jericho lost the match.
That match. But he did not. And why did he not win? Why did he not lose that match? Because he lost blood and guts. They've been going in a one-off and a one-for-one, ratcheting it up, coming back with something even more insane than the last time. Although now that supposedly Eddie's got his Jericho blood, that should be over.
Yeah, and you know, Eddie wasted no time. Eddie wasted no time getting into this match. They were still in the middle of saying Judas, and he was in the ring with Bob. He was in the ring already making Jericho bleed. They were still singing Jericho's theme song. Jericho getting his ass kicked to his own theme song and playing in the background.
He said, "You know that
he's got barbed wire going across his head while they're still singing."
That is it was brutal artistry at its finest.
Yes.
I could not have scripted something like that any better.
It makes even the most.
He showed up to the ring empty-handed, Tone. There was nothing in his hands when he got in the ring. He literally slid in the ring, walked over to the announcer in mid-announcement, snatched his mic, and was upside Jericho's head.
He said, "I don't care about. Don't play my music.
None of this shit.
I don't care about none of that shit.
None of this."
Is he in the ring? All right. Time for me to go. Time for me to go. I'm not waiting on no music.
and then they got it. And then when they got the JAS out of the cage, and all four of them was beating his ass. They was stomping the shit out of his ass. They was stomping his ass so bad. I looked at my son. I said, "Philip, what do you do when you got a man down?" He looked at me. He said, "Dad, you put the boot to him." I said, "Good man, son. Good man."
That's right.
That's right.
It's not only do you want to win the situation, you want to mentally scar them moving forward.
make sure that they understand this could happen at any again.
I'm sure Edge is somewhere going through that right now. Because we have not seen Edge since.
So speaking of, I also heard some more stuff about another wrestler that we haven't seen in a very long time. old Burberry boy himself said that this is a colossal work, and that I'm not gonna say he gave any timing as to when he was coming back, but said that it would happen.
Okay. And so they
this was his best friend, one of his best friends in MLW.
Okay. So I'll group him into this question with also what we're talking about with Jericho and Eddie Kingston. Is FDR and Wardlow over, and is Eddie Kingston and Chris Jericho? Has that chapter been closed?
Wardlow is over. Eddie Kingston and Jericho should be over.
I mean,
that should be over.
Kill each other. First to die.
I mean, we could go back to the Undertaker versus Kane and the light had set you on fire match.
We still owes him for that. He didn't appreciate that shit. That man took a gas can and Daniel Bryan was like, "What the fuck are you doing, bro?" When your teammate, it's like, whoa,
yeah.
Whoa. Wait a minute, because I don't know if I'm an accessory. I don't know if I'm going. What?
No, be like, no, bro, we don't do that here.
Imagine kicking the shit out of somebody, and then your boy coming to help, and he's trying to do way too much. Like, bro, we were supposed to whoop this dude's ass. You trying to go down for arson?
Listen, I'm not going to jail. We're gonna kick his ass. I'm not going to jail. Listen, he out here.
Jim, I like Cassidy, man. Filthy, he's not really a real big fan of him. I just like the character because I haven't seen that. I haven't seen that before, and it works on him. It works on him. I couldn't see anybody else trying to do that.
Yeah, it wouldn't work for anybody else. Not only that, but I mean, it's one of those change of pace guys that is never going to win anything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
but he'll be a fan favorite. We'll all love his move sets. We'll love the. My hands in my pockets.
And if they ask him, his opinion on something important, he's like, it's whatever.
Yeah, it's whatever. Whatever. I'm not gonna get a title shot. You know what I'm saying? What do I care?
Now, if they decide to really put some effort into a cruiserweight division, that's when we'll start to see your Darbys and Cassidys and what's not flourish. Actually,
he's the middle of the mid card.
Yeah, you know what? Now, since I brought up Darby, I don't mind segue into Darby and Brody because that was such a funny discussion we had earlier about that. I'll set the table for Filthy on this one, and then I'll jump in. No grown man, no grown adult man should be done like that. Filthy, take it, bro.
One of the things that wrestling has taught you is that anybody can beat anybody on any given day. And Brody King was not here for any of that shit. He said, "Fuck what you mean. Fuck what you talking about. Let me show you." He went out there in every engagement I've seen him with Darby Allin. I felt like we should be calling the police. I felt like Darby Allin should have some homies, an older brother, somebody who can help him go do some shit. What's up, Stu?
Thank you, Stu.
Appreciate you. But the way that when he had him, I think the week before last, in the Royal Rumble or the Melee match that they had, where he was choking him outside of the ring and just dropped his lifeless body on the canvas on the mat outside the ring, was just disrespectful.
Mm-hmm.
And then when he got into the match this weekend, I mean, they would collide bodies and Darby would just fly, just ragdolled completely. I'm like, it's like, get him out of there. This he's gonna get hurt. I'm like, you can't convince me that this dude who's 150 pounds soaking wet has a snowball's chance in hell of beating this big ass angry cuss right here who looks like he wants nothing more than to break this man in half.
And I like to even go a little back further than that because Darby is not even safe at fan events. The man was trying to just
find some autographs, get his money,
autographs, hang out with the people at a bookstore or something like that, and he was obliterated in front of other people.
Everyone.
Everybody. Children.
Yeah.
Were
there wasn't even any security there to back the crowd up. Like if somebody had just not known the scope of what was going on at all and thought that they was a good Samaritan, they could have stepped up to try to get some of Brody King. It happened. That's that crazy organic. It was like, yo, he was doing something, and then the next, it's like, oh my God. Wow, this dude is beating the shit out of this guy. I mean, he is beating the shit out of this guy.
Brody King is he made people feel the same way Debo made Red Dad feel. You want some of this truth? If you think you're gonna get in between Brody King and whoever he's trying to hurt, it's gonna be, you want some of this true, old man? No, I don't want none of that.
None of that.
Because those aren't even wrestling moves that you're doing right
now. and I'm not even, and the finish to that match. Now you want to talk about doing pile drivers off the top rope and shit. This man caught Darby Allin over his shoulder and threw him down while he was pile driving him. And I was like, oh my, he didn't broke this man's neck. Said, all you see is Darby's head just. Because I was like, oh.
Jim, I think you're right. And I'm so sad for Darby that you might be right about Darby reminding you of Spike Dudley. You might be right about that. And I don't want that for anybody that's trying to do anything great to have their potential plateau for Darby and Spike Dudley. Here's my pitch to help him out. He should turn heel, join the House of Black, and blame Sting for not helping him get better. And sees the House of Black as an opportunity for him to get better. Because I didn't like that little move he did where he tried to surprise Brody from the entrance, and he jumped. He was like hidden in the dark, and he jumped off the top of there and came down on Brody. That was I could see him kind of like using that as a cool, because he's small, so he'd be like, that guy that just jumps out of nowhere. He wouldn't be the powerhouse. But he would be like, you have to look, you better, when you walk out, you better look around because he may slide out from under the ring. He may jump from the rafters. You never know where. That would be a good thing for him. He's already got the look for the House of Black.
I mean, but what happened immediately after that? See, after that, he got his ass beat. I mean,
no, but I'm saying he should just turn heel. Like, he's already mid now. So, and there's nothing he can do on the face end that would impress people enough to where that would give him a jump. That would give him a jump, where he's at. So do something neat. So go the complete opposite. Make people hate you. And one way you can make people, in one way you can create that, create that emotion and that response. Dog out Sting.
And talk about somebody's family.
Huh?
Said, and talk about somebody's family. Try to boink somebody's mom like you were Christian Cage. Which brings us to this last little tidbit of bitchism for the week. Now, Tony, I'm gonna set the stage. I'm gonna set the stage for you. So Christian Cage and Luchasaurus had a tag team match together for the first time since Christian Cage has made this heel turn against Jungle Boy and berated that man's family, talked about his dad being dead, talked about trying to be a real man for his mother and not Jungle Boy's dad. Think he's talked some shit to his sister after he turned on him. And I mean, he said he's gone the extra mile and crossed every bridge that was in the unwritten rule book of wrestling that you don't do. and when Jungle Boy hit the curtain, go on, Tone. Tell him what happened.
All right. Okay. Let me tell you why I'm mad, son. Let me tell you why I'm mad about this, son. So, first thing that comes to mind is, let's take it back to when Swerve was first showing snakish, he's first showing snakish mentality, and you didn't appreciate that. Remember we had that conversation, and
I don't like that.
And they end up, fast forward, and they are now tag team champions, but with the other week the match that they won the titles in, I said I see why Swerve would be looking at Lee side-eye, because for at the very important part of that match, Lee was on the ground most of the time. He was no help for the crunch time part of the match, but he did redeem himself, and on a couple of the transitions in crunch time, and even did a moonsault. a damn near 400-pound man moonsaulted from inside the ring, outside the ring. Go check it out if you guys have not seen that. That was pretty impressive thing to see. Now,
and watch it, and the way that the collection of men absorbed that contact, let's say,
yes,
they were the real MVPs.
Absolutely. So, when I first brought up the Swerve thing and the snakish tendency that we saw, because Lucha was the snake all along. All along, Luchasaurus was the snake, because he walks out looking like he's going to stop Jungle Boy from doing whatever he had on his mind. He smiled.
Looked at his man's. Hey, handle your business, cuz.
Yeah, handle your business. Now, I'm not trying to say that I'm the toughest person in the world, or anything like that.
Yeah.
But I don't think there's no circumstance outside of a gun or a crossbow or something like that would make me run out of a building, from somebody of Jungle Boy size. Now, in the entertainment aspect of it, Christian is a very accomplished guy, accomplished wrestler in this business.
Genius.
And I was very surprised that he elected to run out of the building that way. It's almost a disappointment. Now, I thought of something when you were setting the table for this conversation. And would you like to see FDR and Christian Cage together?
No.
As allies?
No.
Not a tag team. But do you know how disrespectful they would be Could you imagine those promos?
With the match that FTR put on tonight, that's a huge step backwards for them.
No, not FTR. I mean, Burberry and Christian Cage together as allies. Can you imagine those promos?
Bro, somebody might snipe them in the ring, bro. Somebody might legitimately snipe them in the ring. The hate, the venom, the heel promos, and the mic work would be legendary. Now, as you were going over your thoughts of Christian and said how disappointed you were, while you were talking, a thought had struck me, and I was like, now why would he run after saying all of that? Why would he run? Because that's what a coward would do. And if you're trying to cement yourself as a heel, what better way to make people hate you than when this guy you've been berating finally shows up and they're expecting you to take this L? You go ahead and tuck tail and run.
But it baffles me because we're talking about a guy that in his career was not afraid of
anything or anyone.
If anybody that's unfamiliar with ladder matches, you want to talk about one of the pioneers of ladder matches.
Everybody talks about the Hardy Boys. What they don't talk about is how Edge and Christian were the other half of the ladder matches. You didn't have a ladder match without Edge and Christian.
Right. So to be on top, okay. So let's just say from floor to apron to the apron. What do you want to say? That's about 4.5 feet.
Yeah, something like that. Floor to apron, probably closer to 3.
3 feet. Okay.
3.5, maybe 4.
3.5, maybe 4. Okay, and then you have the ladder, 10-foot ladder, 8-foot ladder.
So usually they had 8. They go 8 to 12.
8 to 12. Okay.
Yeah, they go 8 foot and then a 12 foot because that 4-foot gap would look massive.
So I'm certain they use the 12. I'm certain of this. So we got 16 feet. And I've seen him actually stand on top of that. So let's just add another 3.5 more. So almost Christian has fell from that high up on top of other ladders and shit like that.
Multiple times,
shit like that. A Jungle Boy should. It just doesn't match to me. But hey, I like to see, more of this next week because I hope they tie this in somehow, Christian does something really scandalous and entertaining to make up for that. Because whoa.
Well, see, here's the beauty of that though, because I'll take it and all. Now that Jungle Boy's announced himself back, he'll be cutting the pro. He'll be getting the mic work in on Wednesday. Said Wednesday will be his call. Wednesday will be his call out, and either he'll probably get a response the week after, and what he'll probably be doing is waiting to see if he can catch Christian in the middle of one of his matches and just run up on him. And so there's probably going to be a lot of that where he runs up or shows up, Christian bails or comes in, takes a pot shot and bails all the way up until the next main match that they set up. Because, it used to be that matches would get announced for pay-per-views. Now,
we can be Wednesday. Yeah.
This could be tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? We can do this next Wednesday. Hell, we can do this right now.
And we'll do it in Detroit. We'll do it in Tallahassee. We don't care.
Yeah. And I will say that the talent is better at it because they're at least promoting it and setting it up for the next week so that they can get they're doing a great job of increasing their own brand awareness.
Yeah, because announcing matches in the middle of the show, great.
Because I mean, let's be real. Where were they? Where were they in New York on Wednesday? No, they weren't in New York. They were in one of the huh?
They were somewhere in the middle, right?
Yeah, it was somewhere in the middle of nowhere. But I mean, 2 weeks ago in Detroit, they lit up Detroit on a Wednesday. Last week, they were wherever it was they were at in the middle of nowhere, tearing some shit up.
They were. Excuse me, people. They were. Yikes. But they covered up here, but not really well. Yeah, but anywho, yeah, they are tearing it up everywhere.
Yeah,
everywhere they're
every Wednesday. Said
yeah.
every Wednesday they're putting on pay-per-view quality matches. The attention to detail and quality of work, the professional developments, it's a cut above, and they continue to get better.
We were supposed to pay for what we saw Wednesday.
Yeah, they were in New York. It was Arthur Ashe Arena.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Right on, Jim, for that. No, what we saw Wednesday, we should have had to pay for. Actually, what we saw the last 3 Wednesdays should have cost $49.99
at minimum.
At minimum. So I think
the challenge for them is going to be to continue at the pace that they're setting. When you're having pay-per-view quality matches, said conventional wisdom would be to tell you to back that off and make people pay for that, and at that point you become the WWE.
And like you said it best. I don't know if you said it on air or this was us talking on the phone, but you said AEW is in a situation where they're in competition with themselves now. They are the ones that are pushing the fight, and WWE is reacting.
They're not reacting. And like Jim said, they're doing it without Punk, Danielson, Kenny Omega. He's close. He should be coming back pretty soon.
He's close to coming back. Danielson will be back next week.
Yeah, he is actually Wednesday.
Yeah.
I think they're all supposed to come back now. The one question mark is Punk. But when he comes back, he's supposed to have the unification bout with Moxley. And depending on how well his foot is, it's gonna be hard to see Moxley losing that match.
That's another interesting thing about that title, because that's another title that's not defended at the main event, which is good, bad, or indifferent, depending on how you want to look at it. But
I beg to differ.
I think people forget John Mox is the AEW heavyweight champ right now.
Yeah, heavyweight champion. And he's had a couple good matches. He beat Brody King actually to retain his championship.
That's very nice on the resume. That sounds very nice.
Him and AJ Styles. I was looking at AJ Styles thinking something had happened to my TV. I was like, what the fuck is that on his forehead? Is he bleeding?
Yeah. Yeah, Starks was out. Starks won. Whatever. Starks, his character is so good because I cannot stand the dude. And I like, if I haven't said this before on air, I'll say it now. If you're doing your job, if you're provoking the extreme emotion one way or the other. So I'm not a fan of Starks, but the way I'm not a fan of him, he's doing a great job.
He can wrestle. He can put on a show, like you said. His character is not one that I have to care for. His poses that he chooses are provocative to say the least. I can't wait to see him lose myself. I enjoy seeing it when he does. I wish that he had dropped the title, but it's not even a real title, so I guess he gets to hang on to that as long as he wants to.
Mm-hmm. I just started cracking up because for whatever reason, that whole sequence with the 24/7 title changing hands like 7 times in 2-3 minutes in like 5 minutes.
That would be how Vince would play Jonathan Gresham. It would be disrespectful. It'd be like they'd have made that motherfucker the 24/7 champion, and then that, like, you want me to do what?
And then they'd probably have him tag with Apollo, with Apollo, and then just make these two little buff midgets out here. You're trying to get tag titles and maybe win the tag titles, and nobody would even care. They've even forgotten, like, who is the tag champions? Oh,
these two little black bowling balls over here.
If you ever want to know what Maurice Jones-Drew kind of looked like in his prime, there you go, right there. There you go.
Looking like this man has been lifting weights since he was 7.
Yeah. I was about to say something really inappropriate, even for me.
It's all right. We pump brakes on that.
Yeah,
so we got 2 whole viewers right now. We don't want to offend any of them.
Right. Appreciate you guys. When there's 2, there is 4, there is us, and there are we. It's all good.
They're the real MVPs.
Okay, you're the women. Let's jump into the women on Wednesday night. Cargill, Hogan, Nightingale, and Athena.
So I missed the match that Thunder Rosa lost. That was the one that then someone the NJP dub,
NJP dub. And I was watching that, and I was kind of like, you know what? It was then that I said, oh, this company is with it. I mean, that was a curveball. I wasn't ready for that. Now, yeah, the title was not on the line.
Mm-hmm.
Granted that, but I found that to be pleasant, to where you don't necessarily have to lose to the champion. Now the title doesn't change hands. Great. And now look, they may have created another star on their roster by showing that she can beat the champ.
And that's a practice that Vince got away from. Back in the day, you would see the champ wrestle every night. Now, just because he was wrestling didn't mean that the belt was on the line. Mm-hmm. And when the belt wasn't on the line, the champ could be beaten.
Yeah.
And in the long run, and that used to be because the way they used to set it up would be that they get his opponent, and then they'd wrestle, work their way up for a couple months. That'd be like maybe 5, 8, about 8 matches, 6 to 8 matches in between the big pay-per-view.
Okay. Yeah. Pretty much. Because I mean,
and for more or less, and more or less, if you were to keep track of the records, probably end up splitting them or going 3-3, 4-2, something like that.
yeah.
So that you could bill it as a winnable fight for the challenger.
Now some of them went on a little bit longer, like when they finally, when it came to a head with Macho Man and Hogan, Ultimate Warrior and Hogan, where it was kind of like, okay, like
Braun and Roman 77.
Yeah, this is not going to be your
Roman
normal.
90.
Yeah, this is not going to be your normal build up for this main event, because you got these two colossals coming at it. Oh yeah, that's right. Like you were saying, for Cargill, it's time for her to start having in-ring experience with a lot better competition, so that she can develop the way she should be.
Tone, we could go back and forth, and we could not even back and forth. We could continue going through and consequential order of all of the matches that have gone on this week, but we have come to the point of the program where we got to go with what ain't working.
Okay,
that, my friend, is Stokely motherfucking Carmichael. Get him the fuck out of AEW. What the fuck is he doing? He's trying to recruit talent, continuously getting turned down. Everybody that he brings in, or the people that he brings in, don't work out. He's completely neutered Jade Cargill's whole persona. Why he's there, I don't even know whose idea it was to bring him there, but they need to take him right the fuck out, because like you said, you're not getting Teddy P Jr. You're not getting Teddy P Light.
And don't even think Paul Heyman.
You're not getting Paul Heyman. You getting maybe Eric Bischoff on his dumb days.
You're not even getting MVP.
You're not even getting MVP. What? It's like, what is he doing? What purpose is he? The only thing he's doing is destabilizing everything that you had that was working.
Cargill is already, and she's already started the "I'm losing respect for you" process. She's already 10 feet taller than him, and so there's no, what where does he fit?
You know what I'm saying? You got me over here sounding like Herm, dog. Hello. What the fuck is he doing? Like, what are you doing? Why is he here? Whose man is this? Who do you know? I'm like, we had Jermaine Dupri walking out to ringside next to Jade Cargill, and we stuck listening to your ass.
Yeah, he's that dude that works for those companies that are about recruiting people more than the product. That's just, so it like, hey man, you want to make some extra money? You go in, you sit there, you listen to the.
No, bro, you know who that fool is. Nah, fuck all that. That motherfucker is an army recruiter. Can I tell you about? Would you like to join the military? Son, let me tell you about what the military can do for you. What I can do for you. The path I can set you on with the military. We can go to the highest time. We can be worldwide. You know what I'm saying? You will be part of the greatest military organization in the world. All you got to do is fuck with me and sign right here on this line. Said, and give your life to something greater. Me. But
he'll be your best friend all the way till it's time to be deployed. So yeah, that's where we're at with him.
Oh, there's a part 2. You want to hit part 2 or should I?
Please.
Part 2 of what the fuck is going on.
Oh yeah.
Said this was the head scratcher of the week. Danhausen versus Ricky Starks for the FTW championship. Said, how the fuck did we get here?
I said, I can't wait for you to see this. When I saw it first, like, when you see it, that was the face. And you know what? Danhausen's going to win. He is going to take that title off of Ricky Starks, and I use air quotes.
I couldn't think of a better way. Couldn't think of a more fantastic way for Ricky Starks to lose. Hey, you want to talk about you don't like Ricky Starks' character? Well, guess what, Tone? Next week you're going to win. Because when you see Danhausen walk in with that stupid voice,
yes, right. Yeah. So forth, and this open championship or some sort. I'd like to join. I like to accept.
See,
very
you're
nice.
Actually good. You're deep down. You're a Danhausen fan. You're a fan of your annoyance of him. That's how good he is. That was a perfect impression.
Bruh. Sitting there just like this is what we're doing now. That was all I had. This is why I'm not in it, because I didn't do this. So clearly I was taking myself far too seriously. Because if I was ready to do some clown ass shit, I could have made it. I could still make it.
Now, don't get us wrong. You can actually go on YouTube and kind of check out Danhausen's journey, because in all bullshit aside, that man put some work in. He did put his work in.
Yes, he did. He built his and I'm not going to disrespect his shine on that level, because he did built it from the ground up. He lives it. That's not an act. He literally wakes up, probably sleeps with that face paint on. I would doubt that man's seen his actual real face for longer than the time it takes him to put all that makeup on in the morning.
He's locked in the way Heath Ledger was locked in the Joker.
Yeah, and for that, we give that man the golf clap of approval of respect. Said, because dedication to your craft comes in many aspects.
Yes. So we're on this subject of what's not working, and I really only got one. Only have one, and it's become apparent on a weekly basis that we are seeing some botched transitions going on. It seems like it's happening every week more than a rarity, and wrestling is picking up a lot of momentum right now in terms of the excitement that's surrounding. We got WWE change going to a TV 14. We got AEW applying pressure with 3 or 4 shows right now. They're applying pressure, and the in-ring performances need to not be not be lackadaisical about it. Be professionals, yes, things happen, but I'm seeing it on a weekly basis that there's something happening, and again, they need to be better at that, because it's a very sensitive. It's sort of a sensitive time as well, and where wrestling is going to where people are looking for angles to really hate on the products that's out there. And so, I employ, whoever's going to be watching this at another time that's involved, or whatnot, or we're just all agreeing that hey, they need to tighten it up. They need to tighten up because people are watching.
In their defense, one, I'll say that's a great way to get Chris Jericho to hate you because he loves the internet guy who says that calls wrestlers out for botching and says, look, bro, we're human. We all make mistakes. But I will say this. Now, what I've also picked up on AEW with how they're doing their stories, especially on Dynamite, is rotating the talent in. So if these guys aren't wrestling on Dark AEW Dark, they're not getting any work in unless they're getting it in behind the scenes. They're not getting an actual full speed in-ring performance in front of the crowd when the bullets are flying for real. So what you're seeing is them working out those kinks real time right in front of you. Now again, I'm not gonna make excuses for it because as you so eloquently put, this is professional wrestling, and you are expected to be a professional.
And like I said, it should be more of a rarity than because if I see it next week, and I'm not talking about like complicated combinations, that they're running. I'm talking about like simple things that's kind of like, it's like, come on, that wasn't even the hardest combination that you had to run. What'd you think
about this? What'd you think about the spinning chop of air, slicing a hair?
That's what I mean. That's what I mean. Like out of all the ones that they were hitting, throughout the match, you botched that one.
This is the finish, bro. I said, wow.
And Garcia, you're in there, Garcia. You had one job.
Yeah.
You had one job when you came in there. It's not like this was a match for you.
Yeah.
So those are the things, an in-ring thing where, you're trying to do something that does take a lot of timing to get, like some of these matrix dodges, and they're starting to go into it too soon, and then your partner in the ring has to like, oh, let me jump to that spot because you just already revealed this next phase. Those things are timing things, but not knowing what to do, you know what I mean? It's just different when you mess up trying to do what you're supposed to do versus not even doing the whole thing right in the first place, which was the spinning air chop that just never happened. And like I said, it just makes it worse because, and it makes it just worse because Garcia had one job. That's all he had was one job. So this is professional wrestling. Tighten it up, boys.
Listen, Jim. Jade could hurt me. That's all I'm gonna say about that. Okay.
Fight me, hurt me.
She could hurt me. Anyway.
I have no safe words.
None. Give me a best shot. Give me a best shot, champ. but they're booking her all wrong. Said these tag matches, all this bullshit that they got on, They need to start putting her in more direct competition against Athena to help her grow. She needs to wrestle better wrestlers in order to get to the next level. She's having some timing issues, and a lot of what I see in her matches are some of the things that you allude to. But I know that she's new to the business, and for what she's asked to do, and she continues to evolve and get better. And that's not just because I like her. That's just because as a wrestler, she's getting better with every opportunity.
She's getting the same push as Austin Theory. She just needs to get booked with better time.
Much better. And she can work, and she could work with. She needs to start working with some of the better athletes who can hang with her. Because I know that we like to bring in everybody and say everybody gets a shot, but she getting a lot of patsies and roadkill. I mean, these girls that are stepping up to her is like, with the exception of probably Athena and maybe Statlander, is like, I mean, you have no chance of beating Jade. Get the fuck out of here.
Jade is fighting broads that work at Forever 21 and shit.
Listen, Jade is fighting real Raiderettes. And not the cute ones. You know what I'm saying? Them tough cholas who been in a scrap or two, cut a bitch or two in their life. You know what I'm
saying? What's that? Did you have surgery? Nah, I was happened in a fight. Oh shit! Thought you had surgery right there.
I said, nah, yeah, you should see the other guy. Actually, we don't talk about him anymore.
Yeah. Bitch got sliced up, but I'm all right.
Yeah, I'm cool. I got 2 smiles, one on each side.
So we're almost at 2 hours. We'll kind of take the carpool lane and speed through WWE because it was okay. SmackDown
started the same way that Raw ended, with a brawl with the Street Profits, except this time we added, who was it? We added Madcap and Austin Theory.
And Jarrett and Jeff Jarrett
hasn't shown up.
There. No, he was actually there.
No, he was actually there this time. Did he go out and actually? No, he didn't he was backstage, wasn't he?
I saw him backstage. I don't remember seeing him the rest of the show.
Again, right now, my biggest not working thing is WWE creative. I don't know who the fuck's coming up with what, but this shit sucks. Nearly everything that they got on the line, except for Theory's push, probably Lashley's title run, and the Street Profits winning the belts off the Usos. Everything else needs to be scrapped, and they need to come up with some new shit.
Well, I kind of didn't think about this as deep as I just thought about it, and it's the obvious, but recognizing the effect isn't so obvious, which is with Roman having both titles, that takes away 2 main eventers.
Nature
for Monday and Friday. You don't have a champ that somebody's coming for on both shows so that you can have a proper ending or a better one.
So then this will be the perfect way to cap this off and end on a death before dishonor. Said to the tribal chief, I love your wrestling. I love your character. I love your business savvy. But guess what, son? Because all of that was so great, you still ended up playing yourself out of the Universal Championship just because you wanted a part-time schedule.
This is... Woo!